Hey YouTube, welcome to the Vegan Soul Sister.
Hello, I'm a plant-based newbie here.
So this is Irene. She's going to introduce herself and tell us a little bit about her story.
Yeah, soy Irene de Venezuela, South America.
I'm interested in finding out what your food story is.
Yes.
So where did you learn to cook? Who taught you about
Who
food?
says I know how to cook?
I know, do you even know how to cook? That's a good point.
I don't like to cook, and I know
Okay.
very little, but my mom was the one that raised me and taught me how to cook, and she expected me to cook a lot more than I do, so she's very
Wow.
disappointed that my husband is the one doing the cooking in my house, but that's the way it goes.
He is, and did you cook when you were coming up, like when you were little?
I helped her cook, make the rice or chop up vegetables. So she taught me how, but I just never really learned to love how to cook.
What kind of foods did you guys eat? What's Venezuelan
Okay, lots
food?
of rice, lots of black beans and other kinds of beans. So that
Very plant-based.
Yeah, so that part of the diet is not new to me.
Yeah.
So black beans and lentils, lots of plantain, fried or baked. Lots of fruits
Were
and
there special
vegetables.
occasions? What kind of foods did you guys eat during that
Kind of
time?
like in all their cultures. It was all around the holidays, birthdays, New Year's Eve, Christmas Eve. It's all about food and celebration and eating. And our eating is, like I said before, rice, beans. We have pork, fish, chicken, lots of chicken, steak. So it's similar to American way of family like to cook because they believe that we know what's in your food and it's less processed, a lot less sugar. That's stuck in my head. And when I make my black bean soup, I just make it from scratch, even though it's much easier to open cans like my husband does. But she's like, no, you're Latin, you gotta cook, girl.
You're Latin, you gotta cook.
You gotta chop that garlic, not just buy it from a jar. She's like you gotta make it.
Right.
So that was a little bit of change.
So
for
how
me.
does Tim cook? Or where did he?
Tim is from Kentucky.
That's your husband.
Yeah, that's my husband. Yeah, sorry.
And how many kids do you have?
We have two kids, a girl and a boy, and so he's from Kentucky, and they eat a little bit different. Yeah. They eat a lot of potatoes, and the way he cooks is that easy. He likes to open up cans and buy the garlic already chopped in the jar.
Okay.
Which I still cannot.
Did you guys
do
ever
that.
talk about nutrition, like how you wanted to raise your family around food, or did you just kind of get into it?
Oh, we just got into it, and as we go, we're learning things, and we decide, okay, this is probably what we need to do for our kids. And sometimes we start the program, and then we fall off of it.
Like everybody,
because,
right? That's so hard to maintain.
Because it's just easier to go to McDonald's for one night, yeah?
Right.
And even though we know the chicken nuggets are not real chicken, we know that because we've seen lots of videos and programs, we still do it.
Right.
Sometimes.
Isn't that crazy? That's one of the things that is amazing to me, because we all know a lot of facts about food and what is healthy and what isn't healthy and what is in those things, and yet we still do it, and then we still give it to our kids.
Yeah.
So it's like we're kind of awake, but not
really.
back home, or even in Tim's family. Have there been any health implications as a result of the food choices over the long haul?
In my family, I don't think so, but I've been gone for 20-something years, so I don't eat the same way they eat anymore. So it's different. And for Tim's family, his dad had heart problems, heart attacks and stuff. So his dad had.
Do you know at what time? Or what age?
I don't know, but I think he was in his late 40s, I think. And
that's my age.
Yeah, and he did have to change the way he ate. He did.
Did the doctors tell him to do that, or why did he? Because we all know that that's one of the things.
I think the doctors told him you gotta change the way you eat, and he and his wife changed everything, and they eat pretty healthy, lots of soups, vegetable soups, sauteed vegetables, chicken. So after Tim and I watched that video about, the
Forks
first
Over
one,
Knives.
that one.
Yeah, one of the three holy grails of
Yes.
vegan movie
Right.
watching.
So my husband and I watched it, and he was shocked because his dad had gone through that, heart diseases, and he had to change the way.
That's one of the interesting things, because we all watched it at a group So a bunch of women got together and we talked about plant-based diets, and we watched a bunch of videos together. And you and one of the other women were like, I need to make my husband watch.
Yes.
But you were unsure if you would watch it, yeah?
I wasn't sure if he was open to it, but he was. He watched it,
cool.
and then he was like, wow, yeah, this is what happened to my dad, and I probably need to slow down the consumption of meat. This is what he had to do. He had to change his diet, and I have eaten at his house, at his dad's house, you know, so I know that they're pretty healthy that way. And I said, Tim, we can do that too. And he's like, yeah, I guess so. We can, you know, eat meat just once a week, once a month. So. But the chicken situation, I was not.
The chicken situation.
I didn't know that eating chicken was also bad for you.
Yeah.
So watching the video, I learned a lot of things I didn't know.
Okay.
So
this is another interesting thing to me, is when I'm talking to folks and they think about the foods that they ate when they were young, they name a lot of root vegetables, starches, fruits, and those kinds of things. But when I name the thing that we're doing, which is the plant-based eating challenge, that's what we called it, people are like, what is that? Right?
Yeah.
Do you remember?
Yes,
like,
I remember.
So in October we were talking about this challenge because we were doing it in November of this year. So tell me what you thought about it.
Well, when she approached me with this idea, I was like, you want me to do what? You want me to drop my beef, my eggs, my milk, what? I don't think so, but I'm curious. So let me hear more about it, and I'll open my mind, and then I'll make my decision based on all the information I have.
Yeah.
So
what did you think it was gonna be?
It was gonna be very hard to do because it's very restrictive, right? Like there's no meat in there, and that's a big part of.
And that's kind of the way, the perception.
Yeah.
Right, because people always ask me, like, what do you eat? We get that question a lot.
Right,
what do you eat?
Right.
It's like one of the 80,000 available edible plants, but we don't think about it like that, because what you're used to is what you're used to.
Yeah.
And so then having to remove it does feel restrictive.
Of
and
course.
I think that's
And then you have to learn how to cook the new stuff.
The new stuff.
So it takes a lot of energy and effort to learn to cook another way, right? And eat a different way.
So wait, when you first was like, okay, I'll do this, did you talk to your family about it, or was it just like a sneak attack on them?
Well, no, I showed my husband the video first to make sure that he was on board or a little bit exposed to what.
Open-minded.
Kind of like coming from, like, kind of like deceiving, right? Because if I go, boom, they're not going to do it.
Right.
They're not going to do it. So the next step is my kids, and with my daughter, she's going to help me also, you know,
get in there,
sneak in there. Yeah. But
so what are the first things that you noticed?
Okay.
Or that you learned, or?
Well, what shocked me was that you don't need beef or chicken for protein.
Say that again. Say that again.
The first thing that shocked me was that you don't need eggs, cheese, chicken, or beef as your main protein to build muscles and keep healthy. And then the second thing
was shocking to
you. That
you.
was shocking. I say, everybody tells you need protein. You want to build muscle, you gotta use protein. And your kids, you eat your chicken, right? I gotta eat your chicken. And it's like, did you put chicken in her pasta? You sneak it in. Yes, I sneaked it in so she can have some more chicken in her diet. I don't have to do that anymore. So it's like, oh, that's so good. I don't feel pressure on that way to feed her chicken or beef or anything like that.
Really...
So, and then the second thing is the milk, right?
Yeah.
You grow up, your parents say, drink your milk because it's good for your bones. You need your milk. At school, right? You need your milk.
Yeah, I mean, that's almost, it's mandatory, right? They have to put milk on there.
And so I always told my kids, if you don't want to eat lunch at school because you don't want it, at least drink your milk. Yeah. And now it's like, you don't need the milk either. So it's liberating in a way, right? So that's the first thing.
Okay, so wait, did we hear that? You went from saying just like 30 seconds ago to restrictive to liberating. There's some sense of
because you gotta, all the things you learn now, it seems like it's not true anymore. So you just gotta let go of those old beliefs and just change the way you used to think and just make a little bit of changes. Right? So you don't need protein, and if you want to stay healthy, you just eat protein from other sources other than meat.
Yeah. So have you found a source that you're like confident this is how my family's getting their protein
well,
when we're not
I'm
eating
still
meat.
working on that because it's hard to do that. Like, because I tell my husband she doesn't really need the chicken or the milk for protein. He's like, okay, then what else are we gonna feed him today?
Right.
And so you gotta be prepared, right, to do that.
So some of the educational pieces that we were doing from our plant-based eating challenge is that if you eat a whole variety of whole plant-based foods, that you will get all the nutrients you need.
Right.
But including beans, right? Because that's the big thing.
That's
and
a big
you
thing.
grew up eating that, so no
so
brainer
it's not
there.
a big change for me, right?
But it's hard for us to think protein plant-based, right? So even though you're doing it, it's hard to articulate it maybe.
Right.
Yeah,
or even though I was doing it, I thought that I needed to put more protein into it because I didn't think that was enough. So I would sprinkle some cheese on top of my black beans because I needed more protein.
Oh, wow.
Which I don't do now. I'm like fine with just my black bean soup, no adding extra cheese. I'm like, okay, I know I've got enough protein and fiber for my day. I don't need to put any more stuff on that.
So the biggest change that I know we've talked about is no dairy. Right? No milk gone.
Right.
Like in 30 days during the challenge, that's one of the things that other people had a really hard time with. They were willing to get rid of the meat, but the milk they were still holding on to. But you were just like,
with the milk right away the next day.
Okay, why? How?
Well, one of the reasons is because my son and I are always congested, always. Sinus infections, always congested. And I've heard, even from his doctor, that when he's got a cold, cut out the cheese and the milk. She's always told me that, and the yogurt. And so I said, okay, she's told me that before. I know that's true, right? So what if we just cut it out forever? Forever.
Like, why wouldn't the doctor say that? Cut it out forever, you don't need it. But, you know, they're indoctrinated.
Well, now I'm learning that you don't need it for your bones either. So I'm like, why would I buy milk now? They don't need it.
It causes congestion.
It causes congestion, and you don't need it. You just don't need it. So the next day, actually Sundays, when I went to your house and watched the video, that Sunday my husband went to the grocery store and I told him no more milk. Just bring your almond milk, which he already was drinking because of lactose intolerance. So he was already drinking the almond milk. And I said, bring some coconut milk, some other good stuff so they can try everything. And then they just forget about the dairy.
The 30-day challenge is done. Christmas is coming up. We have a January challenge coming up, which is like full...
Don't look at me.
It's a full... So the November challenge was like a graduated scale, what we're just talking about. Because some people need that, baby steps.
Yeah, of course. I needed that.
Some people need it.
Of course I need that because I don't know how to cook.
So you've already done it. So in November, like we had one plant-based meal, one plant-based day, 2 plant-based days, 1 day of just counting fiber to make sure that we got enough plant-based foods.
Yes.
So it was a baby stepping kind of a thing. In January, however, our goal is to do a 31-day plant-based challenge.
Yeah.
Right? So, like, what's the oh my?
No, I'm not ready to be cooking vegan meals every single day for breakfast, lunch, and dinner.
What do you think will be hard about it?
Well, my kids go to school, so...
True.
And my daughter eats at school, so how am I gonna do that? Like, you know, prepare her lunch every single day.
So could it be just at home, the 31 days?
The dinner, it could be, yes.
Yeah. So we might be able to make some compromises there.
Some changes, but not full on, yes.
Yeah. Because the practicing is hard. The switching over so that it becomes second nature is the difficult part. Like like I'm kind of like, what should we eat today? And then trying to make stuff up, and
that's not
feels
good.
hard.
Yeah.
Especially if you don't have the history of cooking it like that.
Right. I don't know anything about it, and I normally don't like cooking. So now for me, having to learn how to cook, that's why I got me that book. So
what book is it? So she comes in and she's like, look, I'm not a vegan, I'm not a full, and then same breath, she's like, but look what I got. You're so funny.
I put it on my Christmas list and I just got it today.
That's so awesome.
Yeah, so I am planning on learning,
so
it's
how
it
all vegan,
Yeah.
That's so awesome.
I saw this book at her house about a month or two ago, right?
Yeah, during the challenge
During
time.
the challenge, and so I Google it and just got it today. So my plan is to learn how to cook, so then I can incorporate more and more meals. Maybe not every day, but
Right.
3 to 4 times a week until I'm comfortable and can make more.
Right. So I think one of the things that we'll do during the challenge time is the same way that we did during the last challenge, is bring people together. Because we got to kind of get over the mindset. The society encourages us to feel busy all the time, and that it's almost like a badge of honor to act busy, and that we don't have time to prepare food. You know, and in generations past, like, people really spent time around
cooking.
Planning and cooking, and that was a time for families to get to know each other, and so that idea of slowing down and giving honor to that time is something that it's hard to change that perception in our mind.
And I think it's the planning. If you plan it out, you could do it.
Yeah.
It's just that I'm not a good planner yet.
Yeah. So maybe that's one of the things. When we meet, we'll meet on a Saturday where we have a farmer's market just right down the street from where we are right now.
And maybe have a list of our menu, maybe.
Exactly. So maybe we can get our friend Shauna.
Yeah.
Shauna, if you're watching, we're going to ask you.
Please share your recipes. Teach us how.
The calendar, the recipe.
Buy the ingredients for us.
Chop it, clean it.
Everything done.
I know. We could pull together money and pay her.
Yeah, let's do
Gosh,
that.
I want her to start a food truck so badly. Okay, so we've been talking mostly about plant-based eating, but this whole lifestyle is beyond just food. You know, we watched, well, I linked, I didn't mandate everybody to watch during our previous challenge, Cowspiracy and Earthlings. We only watched Forks Over Knives together. So the other pieces of veganism, what are your thoughts on that, and like, where does that fit in? Because one of the things that we talked a lot about was the eggs, the whole issue of eggs. So I post a video on the cruelty of the egg industry. And what did you write on there?
I am not ready to watch that yet because I love my eggs, but I will watch it soon, like in the next week or two. Now that I have time to sit down and watch it, I will watch it. I don't know if I will change my mind about not eating eggs totally, but for sure I have slowed down. I don't eat eggs every single day, for sure.
And we did talk about, because we live in Hawaii, and a lot of people raise chickens that are just kind of running around. In fact, in my neighborhood, I'm driving over eggs all the time because the chickens kind of lay eggs wherever, because they're nobody's chickens, they just kind of run around. And so we were talking about the cruelty in the egg industry. If you're not ready to give it up for health reasons, to definitely not support that industry. Where are you with that kind of thinking?
Well, I'm thinking maybe I can just purchase what you call it, organic eggs that are grown by people I know, and will sell them to me, so I know that they're not being cruel to the animals. So maybe that's a good step up for me. So I don't give them up completely, but
until
at least I'm doing something good for the environment and for the animals.
Yeah.
So I think that's a good compromise.
What do you think about the whole environmental and the animal conversation in veganism? Like, where does that have a place in your life? What do you think about that?
Well, it shocked me. A lot of the things I saw, it shocked me. Things I didn't know, or things I have heard about, but I wasn't presented with the facts in my face.
In your face.
So it shocked me.
Okay, this has been super fun. Thank you very much for coming and speaking with all of us.
You're very welcome. Let's do this again.
Yes, yes, we will come back and we'll update, see how the kids like the videos. So that'll be fun. So you've been really dying to share words of wisdom with us.
Really dying?
Yeah,
oh
so share the words of wisdom before we say goodbye.
Well, something sticks in my... Vamos a hacer ejercicios todos los días y a comer frutas y vegetales, ¿ok?
Okay.
That says eat lots of fruit, lots of vegetables, and exercise daily.
And no meat.
And no meat, exactly. No
meat. Carne.
No carne, nada de carne, ni pollo tampoco.
So if you like this video, and we love Irene, please make sure you subscribe.
Do that.
And click the
and
we
sure
like it.
Keep watching it,
And then share it with a friend. Bring them along for this journey.
Yes.
Yeah?
That would be great. And if you can watch some of the videos, that would be also awesome.
Okay. Thank you for watching.